After Earth's overwhelming victory over the Arvok, humanity believes the war is over. But a chilling message is broadcast across the galaxy in every known language, shaking the foundations of Earth's triumph. The galaxy's attention has shifted, and the true cost of Earth's survival is just beginning to unfold. The Arvok fleet was gone, scattered across the galaxy like broken toys, their once mighty ships reduced to drifting wreckage. Earth's last ship, the one that had risen from the depths, stood tall in the midst of it all, a silent sentinel, its energy pulsing softly in the cold of space. The planet below was battered, but the war was over. Humanity had won. The command center was filled with the quiet buzz of final reports, screens flickering with data, but the prevailing feeling was relief, the kind that comes after the storm. Has passed, when the chaos is replaced by exhaustion. Carter stood at the head of the room, her eyes scanning the aftermath, but her mind was far from the celebrations happening in the background. There was something lingering, something she couldn't quite shake. "Victory is ours, Commander." Ryan's voice broke into her thoughts. He stood by a console, his hands hovering above the keys, but there was an unease in his voice. "We've done it. The Arvok are in retreat." Carter didn't reply immediately. She had heard the words before. Victory. It was supposed to feel like peace, yet it felt like something was slipping through her fingers. "Have you checked the systems again? Full diagnostics on the ship?" she asked. "Twice," Ryan replied, a frown creasing his brow. "The ship is stable, everything's functioning as expected, but it's too quiet. No resistance. The Arvok are pulling back, but there's something else." "What else?" He turned to her, his eyes filled with concern. "We're getting a transmission from deep space." Carter's chest tightened. A transmission? After everything that had happened, was there more coming? From who? She asked sharply. Ryan hesitated before answering. "We don't know. The signal is encrypted, but it's not the Arvok." Carter's pulse quickened. "Then who is it?" Before Ryan could respond, the room went still. The monitors flickered, and a strange static filled the air. Then, across every screen, a single line of text appeared. They thought Earth had fallen. But they were wrong. "Now, hear our warning." It wasn't just on one screen. It was on every screen. It wasn't a message. It was a command, sent with such intensity that it rippled through every communication network Earth had. Every soldier, every fleet commander, every leader was hearing the same thing. Ryan quickly checked the systems. The signal's universal. It's being broadcast in every known language. All communication lines are active, from every species, every star system. Carter's mind raced. This was not the kind of message they expected after victory. This wasn't a plea for peace or an acknowledgement of Earth's strength. This was a warning. Another line of text flashed on the screen, growing larger, like a mark burned into the very fabric of space. "Prepare yourselves. The true reckoning begins now. The galaxy will remember what Earth has done, and it will not forgive." Carter's breath caught in her throat. Who was sending this message? Why was it being broadcast to every corner of the galaxy, in every language known and unknown? And what did they mean by the true reckoning? Ryan's fingers hovered over the console. "It's coming from somewhere near the outer rim. It's distant, but..." He paused, his eyes wide in disbelief. "The ship responsible for this transmission, it's not a normal craft. It's massive, far larger than anything we've seen. It's an older design, but the technology is..." "It Arvok?" Carter interrupted, her voice sharp with anxiety. "No, Commander," Ryan replied, his voice tight with confusion. "It's not Arvok, but whatever it is, it's coming." The words hung in the air like a ticking time bomb. The Arvok had been defeated, but now this new, unknown enemy had drawn a line in the sand. The galaxy was aware of Earth's actions, of the weapon humanity had unleashed, of the strength it had shown in the face of annihilation. The Arvok had underestimated Earth's resolve, and now a far more ominous force had taken notice. They thought it was mercy, Carter said quietly to herself, the realization creeping up her spine. It wasn't. Ryan's gaze shifted. Uneasily. What do we do now? Carter stood motionless, her eyes scanning the room, but her mind was already racing ahead. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It wasn't about humanity being overlooked. This was about a challenge. A new force had emerged, and they had already made it clear they weren't here to talk. "Prepare the fleet," Carter said, her voice cold with resolve. "We need to be ready. We don't know who this is, but they've made it clear that Earth is their target now. We've won this battle, but the war isn't over." Ryan nodded quickly. "Yes, Commander, preparing." "Now." Carter turned toward the viewport, staring out at the vastness of space, her thoughts heavy. The Arvok might be gone, but the galaxy's attention had shifted, and the new threat was something she wasn't prepared for. A low hum began to reverberate. Through the room, a signal that Earth's last ship was still active, still waiting. Its colossal form cast a long shadow across the Earth's surface below, like a reminder that Earth's power had only just begun to awaken. "We thought it was mercy," Carter repeated, her voice barely a whisper. But it wasn't. Earth had survived, but a far darker storm was coming, and no one, not even the galaxy itself, was ready for what came next. The real war was just beginning. The warning had been clear, direct, and as cold as space itself. "Prepare yourselves. The true reckoning begins now. The galaxy will remember what Earth has done, and it will not forgive." Carter stood at the center of Earth's command center, the hum of the various systems surrounding her. Every eye was on the screen, waiting for answers, but there was only one question on Carter's mind. Who had sent that message? Ryan, standing beside her, was already at work, trying to trace the source of the transmission. His face was a mask of concentration as his fingers danced across the controls. "Commander, the transmission is coming from deep space. The outer rim near the galactic edge. It's too far for our scanners to get a precise lock." "We need more than that," Carter snapped, her patience running thin. "Whoever this is, they know where we are. This isn't just a threat, it's a challenge." Ryan's eyes flickered with a mix of fear and awe. "The ship, it's unlike anything we've seen. It's massive, larger than any Arvok vessel." Carter's eyes narrowed. The Arvok were a formidable force, but to face something bigger, something unknown, that was a terrifying prospect. They had just survived an invasion. The last thing they needed was another galaxy-spanning force ready to take Earth on. "We're not going to sit around waiting for them to come to us," Carter said, her voice sharp. "Get the fleet ready. We'll meet them head-on. Earth won't cower in the face of anyone." The command center erupted into movement, orders being relayed, systems coming to life, but the weight of Carter's decision loomed heavy. They had won against the Arvok, barely. The victory had been hard won, and Earth's defenses were battered, strained, but the new enemy was close, and they would need everything at their disposal if they were to survive. The massive holographic map of the galaxy flickered, and Carter's gaze was fixed on the far edge where the signal had originated. The outer rim was a vast and uncharted region, home to ancient systems and forgotten empires. But what if this enemy was older, more advanced than the Arvok had ever been? She couldn't afford to make another mistake. The cost of victory had been too high, and she wouldn't let Earth's survival become a fluke. "What do we know about the signal?" she asked, turning to Ryan. "We're still decrypting it," he replied, "but it's been sent through multiple frequencies, and it's addressed to every sentient species. It's more than just a threat. It's like a summons. They want us to know they're coming. They're not waiting," Carter muttered, her mind spinning. "How much time do we have?" Ryan hesitated before responding. "Not long. A few hours at best. "The ship is moving fast, and it's heading directly toward Earth." Carter straightened, her jaw tightening. She felt it now, the weight of the impending storm. "Prepare the fleet for immediate departure," she ordered. "Get the remaining Vanguard units in position. No one is to be caught off guard." Outside, Earth's last ship, the one that had risen from the surface, humanity's final weapon, stood as an ominous reminder of what was at stake. It had delivered a powerful blow to the Arvok, but would it be enough to face whatever this new enemy was? They didn't know the ship's full capabilities, and they didn't have the luxury of time to find out. The room fell into a tense silence as everyone began their duties, eyes glued to the monitors. Carter watched the digital clock ticking down to the inevitable encounter. The battle was coming. "We have to assume they know everything about us," Carter said, breaking the silence. "We can't rely on surprises this time. This is going to be a straight fight." Ryan looked up from his console. "Commander, I'm getting something. It's a message." "From who?" Ryan swallowed, his face pale. "It's from the ship, the one that sent the warning." Carter's heart skipped a beat. The last time they had heard from the ship, it had been a single ominous line. Now it was reaching them again, this time with more clarity. "Play it," she ordered. A low, menacing hum filled the room as the message began to broadcast. A strange, alien voice cut through the static, speaking in a language that felt both familiar and foreign, as though it were an ancient tongue, a forgotten language of the stars. "We have arrived," the voice said, slow and deliberate. "Earth, your time has come. You will know the true meaning of consequence. You will understand why you were not meant to survive." The message repeated in multiple languages, each one rolling off the tongue with the same chilling precision. It was a declaration, a command. The galaxy's judgment had arrived, and Earth's survival had been the catalyst for something far larger than anyone could have anticipated. Carter's stomach churned. The fear she had been holding back began to creep into her chest, but she refused to show it. Not now, not in front of her team. Ryan's hands trembled as he turned away from the console. "This isn't just a threat, Commander. This is an invasion." Carter nodded, her voice steady. "Then we'll show them what Earth can do. We've been underestimated for far too long. Get the fleet ready. The first strike is ours." The room erupted into movement as the final preparations were made. The massive, ever-growing fleet of unknown ships was now visible on the sensors, approaching Earth with terrifying speed. The Arvok had been merely the beginning. This new force, whoever they were, was something else entirely, and they were not coming to negotiate. "They think Earth has fallen," Carter muttered under her breath as she stood at the command center watching the screen flicker. "They're wrong." "Are we ready, Commander?" Ryan asked, his voice tense. Carter glanced at the fleet preparations one last time before turning to face him. "We'll be ready. It's time the galaxy learns to fear Earth." As Earth's remaining ships began to power up and move into position, Carter could feel the weight of what was to come. Victory had been hard-earned, but the next challenge would be even more dangerous. Earth had been reborn, its true strength now revealed to the universe. But this victory would not come easily, and just as Earth had begun to respond, a new shadow emerged on the horizon. The galaxy would never be the same again. The countdown had begun. The battle for Earth's survival had begun, but the weight of uncertainty hung in the air like a dark storm cloud. The fleet had assembled, humanity's forces now aligned in a desperate defense against the unknown. The message from the enemy was clear. Earth had been marked for extinction. Carter could feel the gravity of the situation in every breath she took. They had survived the Arvok, barely, but now Earth had to face something far worse, something unknown. Carter stood before the command console, her fingers tapping lightly against the edge. The view of Earth's last ship, the one that had risen from the depths, dominated the view screen. It was ready, and so were they. The remaining vanguard units had been positioned around Earth's atmosphere, prepared to intercept the incoming force. The enemy's fleet was only hours away, closing in from the outer rim at an unsettling speed. Ryan was at the other console, his face illuminated by the flickering lights of data streaming across his screen. "Commander, the enemy is getting closer," he said, his voice tight. "Their fleet is massive, larger than anything the Arvok could muster. We're talking about dozens of ships, each bigger than the Exemplar, and there's more we don't know about." "Of course there is," Carter muttered, her mind racing as she calculated their next steps. The vanguard ships were Earth's last line of defense, but even with their firepower they were outnumbered. She couldn't afford to be caught off. Guard again. The unknown force had made it clear that Earth wasn't just a minor obstacle. Earth had become the target. "Commander," Lieutenant Morris said, looking up from his console, "we've decoded more of the transmission. It's not just a threat. The message we received, it's a challenge." Carter's gaze shot toward him. "A challenge? What does that mean?" Morris hesitated, running the analysis again. "It seems like they're testing us. They know about the victory over the Arvok, and now they want to see what Earth can. Really do. It's like a test of strength." "Wonderful," Carter said dryly, stepping away from the console. "So they're not just here to destroy us. They want to prove something. This just keeps getting better." Ryan's hands moved quickly across his console. "I've been tracking their movements. They're preparing to send a fleet into Earth's orbit, and they're deploying weapons designed to disable our shields. They won't be here to negotiate." Carter turned toward him, her expression hardening. "Then we'll give them a fight they'll never forget. If they want a test, let's show them what Earth is capable of." The command center hummed with activity as the final countdown began. The fleet was in position, and the planet's last defense, the ancient ship, stood poised for action. Its weapons were now fully online, and its energy output was off the charts. But even with the ship's devastating potential, Earth's forces were still heavily outnumbered. "Ryan," Carter said, her voice cool but full of purpose, "prepare the ship's weapons for immediate deployment. We need to break through their defensive perimeter first. No hesitation." Ryan nodded. "Yes, Commander, preparing the main cannon now." A low, resonant hum filled the room as the ancient ship's weapon systems powered up. The air felt charged with anticipation, the energy that had been dormant for centuries now surging to life. Carter could feel the weight of history pressing down on her. This was more than just a battle. It was Earth's chance to prove that they could rise above the chaos, to make their mark in a galaxy that had once thought of them as insignificant. "Target the lead ship," Carter ordered, her eyes fixed on the massive fleet of unknown ships. "Approaching. We'll take down their command vessel first. Once their leadership is shattered, the rest will crumble." Ryan didn't hesitate. He typed in the final commands, and the view of the incoming fleet filled the command center's display. "Locked and loaded," he said, his voice calm despite the tension. "Weapons are primed, ready to fire on your command." "Fire!" Carter said, her voice resolute. The ancient ship's main cannon charged, the energy within it building until it could no longer be contained. A massive pulse of power shot out, tearing through space toward the lead ship of the enemy fleet. The beam collided with the ship's shields, causing them to flicker and spark. For a moment, it seemed as though the shields would hold, but then, with a burst of energy, they collapsed. The beam sliced through the alien ship's hull like a hot knife through butter. The lead ship erupted into a fiery explosion, disintegrating. In an instant. "Yes!" Ryan exclaimed, pumping his fist. "Direct hit! We've broken their lead ship!" But Carter didn't allow herself to celebrate. The remaining ships were regrouping, moving into formation with terrifying speed. The enemy fleet wasn't disorganized. They had seen Earth's power, and now they were ready to retaliate. "They'll come at us with everything they have," Carter said, her eyes narrowing. Prepare the next wave. We need to keep them from regrouping. Ryan was already working. At his console, his eyes flickering with the data as he prepared the next attack. But as he typed, the atmosphere in the room shifted. A new signal appeared on the screens, faint at first, then growing in intensity. Carter's heart skipped, a beat as she saw it. They're sending something else, Ryan said, his voice low with disbelief. It's not a ship. It's some kind of probe. It's heading directly toward Earth. Carter turned sharply, her gaze fixed on the new signal. The probe was unlike anything they had ever encountered. It was sleek and fast, but its purpose was unclear. Whatever it wasn't coming to negotiate. It was coming to test Earth again. Intercept the probe, Carter ordered. Whatever this is, we can't let it reach Earth. As Earth's fleet powered up, the alien probe surged forward, its speed nearly impossible to track. The countdown to impact was nearly upon them. Carter's mind raced, the weight of what she was about to do crashing down on her. Earth had only just begun to defend itself, but the real test had arrived. The battle was far from over, and humanity's true fight had just begun. The probe was closing in, its speed unmatched as it streaked toward Earth, a harbinger of a force yet to be fully understood. Carter's eyes were locked onto the incoming signal, a mix of dread and determination washing over her. The Arvok had been nothing more than a prelude. Now Earth's survival was at stake once more, and this time the enemy was something far more enigmatic, far more calculating. "Commander," Ryan's voice cracked through the air, sharp with urgency. "We can't track it fast enough. It's too quick, and our defenses aren't calibrated for something like this." Carter's eyes narrowed. The probe wasn't just a machine, it was a message, and she wasn't going to let it reach Earth without a fight. "We'll have to make do," Carter said, her voice calm but edged with authority. "Activate the secondary defense systems. We'll have one shot at this." Ryan hesitated only for a second before complying, his hands moving quickly across the console. The tension in the command center was palpable, everyone holding their breath as the alien probe drew nearer. The humming of Earth's last ship reverberated through the room, its massive form still towering over the planet, its weapons systems charged and ready. "Probe in range," Ryan said, his voice tight. "If we fire now, we might only have a 60% chance of hitting it." Carter didn't need to think twice. Take the shot. The command was immediate, and the first volley of energy missiles shot from Earth's fleet, cutting through space at breakneck speed. The missiles collided with the probe's protective shields, but they barely made a dent. The probe's shields flickered but remained intact, as if mocking the strength of Earth's defenses. "Impact!" Ryan shouted. "It's still coming!" "It's not slowing down." Carter's chest tightened. If they didn't intercept it now, the probe would breach the atmosphere and reach Earth, potentially unleashing whatever force it carried. They had to stop it, and quickly. "Prepare the main cannon," Carter ordered, her voice crisp. "We're not giving them another chance." Earth's last ship began to power up, its engines thrumming with energy. The main cannon, still brimming with residual power from their earlier attack on the Arvok, was their last hope. The probe, still hurtling toward Earth, sent out a strange signal, something Carter couldn't yet decipher. But the flashing lights on the screen told her everything she needed to know. It wasn't just a reconnaissance mission. It was a trigger for something much larger, something they weren't ready for. "Target locked," Ryan said. His fingers were flying over the controls, the final shot a heartbeat away. "We're ready, Commander." Carter's heart raced, her mind filled with the weight of the moment. Earth's survival had come down to this. One final shot. Fire. The cannon roared to life. A massive burst of concentrated energy shot from Earth's ship, sending ripples through space as it tore through the void toward the probe. The probe's shields flickered under the immense force, but it held steady. The impact was inevitable. The explosion was immense. The probe vanished in an eruption of light and sound, disintegrating in an instant. The shockwave spread across space, the remnants of the alien probe dissolving into the void. Ryan exhaled, his voice filled with relief. "We did it. The probe's gone. It didn't make it through." Carter watched the debris fade into the distance, her pulse still racing. They had stopped the probe, but at what cost? This wasn't the end. The enemy wasn't just testing Earth, they were sending a message, and the message was clear. "They'll be back," Carter said softly, her gaze turning to the screen, watching as the last traces of the probe's destruction drifted away. "This is just the beginning." Ryan turned to her, his expression grim. "What do we do now?" Carter's lips parted, her resolve firm. "We prepare, we rebuild, and when they return, we're ready." As Earth's last ship stood still, in orbit, the distant hum of its systems now a part of the galaxy's new reality, Carter knew that the war was far from over. Humanity had fought for its survival, and in doing so, had sparked something far greater than a conflict. The galaxy had been watching, and now Earth had a place in the stars, but the true reckoning was still to come, and Earth would face it head-on.